This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. I want to welcome you into the show. And first of all, we just want to say thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you download your podcast. And wherever you download your podcast, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. It's a $2 Tuesday, so we're not giving out $2 if you give us a 5-star review, but go ahead and do that because someone may thank you because we're doing really, really great things over here. But T, let me tell you, Deion Jones may return, but will he be willing to play ball though? We'll talk about that. And also, Alex Anthopoulos looking like he's gonna dance with the team that brought him. We'll talk about that as well. And last but not least, and for the culture, Tiger Woods turned down how much? That's all coming up. But first, we got to talk about Deion Jones. We got a report yesterday from Jeff Schultz of the Athletic, friend of the program, about Deion Jones. The team tried to trade Deion Jones. Terry Fontenot, I'm sure they've been working the phones, trying to figure out what's a good value, and they haven't been able to find a trade partner. Got to have two people to dance, right? The tango, right?
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that I find very interesting is that from what the report made it seem that they might figure out a way to keep him as long as his attitude is right and he's working hard. Like, what are we talking about here? Are we in high school, T? Like, what's going on right now?
Right. Yeah. And that's an interesting comment because let's face it, there's never been any report out of Flowery Branch or any reports from anywhere that says Debo is anything but a stand-up guy, right?
Right.
He's been one of the leaders of the team and was part of the team, when they went on that Super Bowl run and has been one of their stalwarts. Yes, he is kind of on the downside. His body just was not right last year. We saw flashes of Debo, but we didn't see the real Deion Jones. So that was an interesting comment to me. I get what Jeff is saying. Obviously, if you're malcontent based on your situation, knowing that you got to stay in a place where somebody wants you to go and leave, yeah, you could definitely have a little bit of a different attitude than normal. But I expect Deion Jones to be the same stand-up guy he's always been. And I also expect Dean Pease, with his creativity, to find a space and a place somehow for him to still contribute.
No doubt about it. And, to be honest with you, you talk about the play not being where it needs to be, and one thing that I've always kind of pointed out with Deion is that he came in a certain way, looking a certain way, playing a certain way. And the only thing that really changed is that his level of play has declined. You never really saw the changing of the body. And I always talk about that. Like, that's one thing you have to pay attention to when you're looking at NFL players and whether or not they're going to reach their potential. And Grady Jarvis is a prime example. It's right there. And you talk about how he came in. He was kind of, he wasn't that big up top. And, of course, he was stout down low. But that second year you came back, he was walking around the locker room like this, So for those who can't see, I got my chest all poked out. It's poking out a little bit more nowadays. I got my carotid, I have to give a thing right. But I think those are some of the things that I've always noticed about Debo But, he was just so great when you're talking about speed from a speed standpoint. That was a great asset that he had as a player. And, he was a playmaker as well. So with the interceptions and, of course, always giving it to the New Orleans Saints, which a lot of people in this town loved him for. And we'll always love him for that. But I think those are some of the things that kind of come to fruition now that, Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith trying to trade him. And they know that more than likely you're only going to save a couple dollars. $1 million ain't a couple dollars, but hey,
but
that's
the
you're
general
saving
of a salary cap. That is,
yeah. So I think that for those reasons, I believe they'll find a deal, but it might not necessarily be the one that they actually want. Speaking of a deal, T, before we talk about a player that looks like he might be done for the season, they might and Terry Fontenot might have to work those phones again. Tell them about the deal that the Dave app has for our special listeners.
Yes, and the Falcons may not at this point have a deal that they want to consummate for Deion Jones, although they've got Michael Walker in the wings, so there's that. But Dave has a deal that you can get going with him because if we keep it 100, everybody has been in a situation in their lives where they were tight on cash and needed somehow to strike a deal with somebody somewhere to help them out. And that is where Dave can help. So a friend of mine used to always say there's no stress like financial stress, and facts, no question about it. So
Big
Dave
time.
can help you to get out of that pinch if you're ever in it again. Now, hindsight is 2020. You can't really go back and change whatever got you in that situation, but what you can do is get a little help to bail you out for the future. So if you want to borrow or need to borrow a little cash, you can do that with Dave. It is actually a banking app, so you can do it right from your phone. You can get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. You can finally tackle the expenses that have been really stressing you out. No interest, no credit check needed, and millions of people have already downloaded the app and taken advantage of getting some financial relief. So, again, you download that Dave app from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. And again, for terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve. They're a member of FDIC, and your future, you will thank you.
No doubt about it. The future you will always thank you for making good, sound financial decisions. Now, speaking of decisions, it has to be made. We talked about Vincent Taylor. We just found out that he tore his Achilles, ruptured
Yeah.
his Achilles. I'm sorry, and more than likely that means that your season is done.
Yeah.
And the thing about we talked about on this show, T, as far as the Terry Fontenot waiting around to kind of see who gets cut and all
Mhm.
that stuff, as far as from a defensive line standpoint, adding one
Mhm.
more veteran guy. It
Yeah.
looks like the sense of urgency is just turned up
Zapar.
just a little bit here, T.
Right. The sense of urgency has all of a sudden ratcheted up. And you think about it, and it's like, okay, you think you're all good to go because you got Eddie Goldman. And then he says,
Mhm.
no, thank you. I am done with this whole thing, period.
Yeah.
Goodbye. And then you think, okay, I've got Vincent Taylor. And you really kind of want that veteran. You want somebody behind Taquan Graham, if nothing else, to just kind of push him to be
Right.
great
Mhm.
and or to be solid in that position. Now you don't even have him as a backup. But Terry Fontenot said exactly what you just said. He said that in an interview yesterday with our guys Andy and Randy, and he talked about the fact that this is that time. Now that players are in pads, you're getting closer to joint practices and preseason. He can start to be on the hunt. And I'm sure he didn't think he was going to be on the hunt for a nose tackle this quickly yet again. But yeah, he knows the deal, and that's just what he's going to do.
No doubt about it. And we would definitely keep an eye and monitor whether or not they do bring someone in or they just want to ride this thing out, like I said, and wait around for, the wee hours of the season once it gets
Mhm.
rolling around and try to make an addition because more than likely it's going to be a guy that you know exactly what you're going to get from him. So I don't think that period of where you to see what the guy can bring to the table or what he has, I think that's going to be kind of eliminated when you're talking about bringing a veteran defensive lineman. And we know that pro scouting department is is Terry Fontenot's where his roots lie. So we definitely know that he's going to be on it and checking out once that move comes down the line. Speaking of coming down the line, the Braves, the
Yeah.
Phillies, tonight at 7:20, they will
Mhm.
be taking on. I mean, Mr. Strider is going to be taking the mound.
Oh, yeah.
120 strikeouts right now, and we already know what goes down when the folk hero is on the mound. T. I think that this is something that I believe that the Braves have to get. I think they need to
Yeah.
go ahead and take both of these because the Phillies are
Agree.
kind of creeping up behind
Yeah.
them. I know they're chasing the Mets and kind of sticking around that 3-game range, but the Phillies
Right.
are here, and I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon.
I would agree. I think it's one of those things where you absolutely have to understand the importance of where you're going. And so, I heard somebody say something interesting, and I thought, that's not a bad assessment, if you will, of why this game is so important. Now, the obvious for us is it's important because it's the Phillies. And like you said, you never want to get that complacent with a team that, yeah, right now is 10 games behind you. But just remember, at one time, you were 10 games behind the Mets and how you
Yep.
were able to creep up. So still, you
Hot
want to
month can really change that really quickly.
exactly it really can, or a hot month for the Phillies, or a cold spell from the Braves as they go into a wicked schedule on the road, starting with a 5-game stretch against the Mets just after the Phillies. So it's like you don't get a break there. So yeah, they have to take it seriously. But I love the fact that just a week ago, Spencer Strider got them their only win in that series that they lost up in Philly. And we're talking about him going 6 innings. We're talking about him getting 6 strikeouts and only walking a couple of batters. That's what you want. 3 hits and just 1 run. Yeah. If you can get that out of him, then I'm confident that you can, that'll set you up to win this series and most certainly set you up to get what you need when you go to Queens.
And one of the things that have always kind of seemed like it's been a struggle with Spencer Strider lately is the run support. So yeah, gonna need those bats to get going tonight against the Philadelphia Phillies for sure. But speaking of bats and guys using it, like Austin Riley has been using this bat quite a bit lately. So probably going to be the National League Player of the Month. But Alex Anthopoulos said, hey, man, we're going to have to pass out this bag. We'll talk about that next. Right here on ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and T, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. Don't go anywhere. You better not. I promise I'm going to do something to you. Oh, my bad. We got here. We'll be right back.